Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a 2021 comparison between the iPhone XS, which is on the left, and the iPhone X, which is on the right. Now, obviously, if you have all the money in the world, picking up the iPhone XS is probably the better way to go. It's a newer phone, it's going to have more features, I guess. But I mean, from what I've seen, these two phones are so neck and neck to one each other that there's really no point in like going from an iPhone X to a XS. You're better off going to like an iPhone 11 or iPhone 12, in my opinion. I will find the cheapest ones of both of these, link them down in the descriptions. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can see they pretty much have the exact same thing going on. They both have 5.8-inch panels on the front, OLED, notch, Face ID, all that stuff on the front. There is really no major difference between each other. They are almost exactly the same thing when it comes down to it. Lightning ports on the bottom, the thickness and thinness. One thing about the iPhone XS was that there was a gold version of it. The iPhone X did not have it, unfortunately, but it's still okay. But the thickness and thickness is almost identically the same on both. Now, when you flip it out to the back, the iPhone XS, like I said, had that gold version. I do have a matte skin on the back of this one. The iPhone X has that white version and the black version, and they both look still really good. Like, there's not one that looks way better or way worse than the other one. They kind of have the exact same thing going on for them. Now, you do have that dual camera setup on the back of them as well. Wireless charging on both, no reverse wireless charging or anything like that. Same IP certification as far as I know. Maybe there's IP68 on this one. You do have a smaller battery on the iPhone XS than on the iPhone X, which is very annoying. But other than that, they kind of have the same exact thing going on. There's really not one phone that is ginormously way better than the other one as far as I can tell. So in terms of that and in terms of the bodies, they are pretty much exactly the same. There isn't really that big of a difference as far as I can tell. Now, one of the bigger differences for sure that's probably going to be affecting both not very soon, but sooner than later, is going to be the software between them. So the iPhone X, as most of you know, did come out in 2017, and it's definitely not getting any younger. And because of that, the iPhone X has a higher chance of, getting unsupported with software before the iPhone XS. But there's also been a lot of rumors, including me, since day one the iPhone X came out, because this thing didn't come out like day one on iOS 11. It came out on like iOS 11.1 or something like that. That makes me think that this device may end up getting an extra version or two of software. Again, there's no way to verify that, but that's a chance that, may happen on the iPhone X. With the iPhone XS, though, it does have that newer chipset, it has more RAM and all that stuff, so there is a super high chance that the iPhone XS ultimately is going to outlast something like an iPhone X. So keep that in mind. It's not like your phone is going to be way crazier in terms of a software lifecycle as far as I can tell. But if anything, there's a higher chance that the iPhone X may actually match the same software versions as the iPhone XS, like we've seen with the iPhone 5S and iPhone 6, then these phones not even matching at all, or the iPhone X is having more. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. But there is something that's a little bit different between the battery life. As far as I can tell from what I've tested year after year, the iPhone X does have better battery life and a bigger battery size than the iPhone XS. So what does that mean? Well, pretty much whatever you're going to do with the iPhone X, it's going to give you a little bit better battery life than the iPhone XS. It's still extremely, the same on both, to be honest, but there's a higher chance that the iPhone X will have better battery life in the long run. So in terms of that pretty much covers that specific aspect. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone X has that Apple 11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigs of RAM, where the iPhone XS has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone to both these. Okay, there we go. Now, the iPhone X is sliding down a little bit, so I guess we're just going to kind of let it slide. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And about the same on both. Music, 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone XS was just slightly faster there, but it was still extremely close. Let's go ahead and do the app stores, 3, 2, 1. And I think my iPhone X, as I mentioned before, may have a slight network issue, but you can see I think it was going to be roughly about the same too. This is a pretty basic game, or pretty basic app. Just kind of wanted to have it loaded up in the background. Hopping out of there, let's do clock, 3, 2, 1. About the same there too, and you can even see the animation sliding through are about the same too, so definitely not a big difference there. I have a bunch of these third-party apps we can pretty much always test out. Let's do snake versus blocks, 3, 2, 1. And almost identically the same. They were like neck and neck there, so there really wasn't that big of a difference there. Of course, gameplay-wise, it looked like the iPhone X glitched up a little bit there, but scrolling through, you guys can see there's pretty much the same thing. Let's go ahead and do thank you, 3, 2. Let's do Facebook, 3, 2, 1. iPhone X again was a little bit faster there. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And I think you guys could see which one was the faster one there. I was kind of looked away for a second. Stack. 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone X is on the right, the iPhone XS is on the left. And you can see gameplay-wise, the iPhone XS was able to load that specific ad up way faster than the iPhone X. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the iPhone XS was the faster one. Again, I think the iPhone X is in a slight network issue phase. So again, we're going to run into that little thing, but I think the iPhone XS was still going to be faster. Let's get into Instagram, 3, 2, 1. And iPhone XS, I don't know, it was like kind of weird. I do have Temple Run 2 right here, 3, 2, 1. And again, I mean, the iPhone XS is just flying by. The iPhone X is a little bit behind, to keep that in mind. And there we go, we finally get into it, getting into some gameplay and see if there's a major difference, and I really don't think there's going to be that big of a difference. But the iPhone XS did glitch up a little bit there, which is very weird. Hopping out of this one, let's do thank you, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone XS was faster. The iPhone X just a little tad bit behind, and that was for sure the bigger difference that I could see there. And let's go and end it off with something like Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Now there's a chance it may not work on either one of these, so I guess we'll just see what happens. And of course we have a little download issue here. So that pretty much covers up the speed comparison. I think ultimately the iPhone XS was the faster one every single time. The iPhone X was a little bit behind, but as far as I could tell, the iPhone XS is probably the faster phone still, which is no surprise. Let's go on and end it off with the cameras. Now I was going to do like a full camera comparison kind of, but I don't really feel like doing it. It's no point. The iPhone X had that dual 12 megapixel sensor, so did the iPhone XS, a wide angle lens and telephoto lens. So there's really nothing super crazy between these cameras. To be honest, I never really noticed that big of a difference. The only main difference was with the front cameras actually. So with the iPhone XS, you had the 1080p at 30. With the iPhone XS, you actually had 1080p at 60. So a little bit of an improvement, but other than that, they pretty much had the same thing going on. But the iPhone XS is the better camera. So at this point, to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you go and buy an iPhone X or should you go and buy an iPhone XS in 2021? Well, this is pretty much what I'll tell you. As I mentioned before, time and time again, the iPhone X is still a really good phone. This phone, the more I use it, the more I just mess with it. It's just such a timeless phone, and I think everyone would agree. Anything you're going to do with this phone or anything you're going to do with an iPhone or 12 Pro or whatever, you're going to be able to do it on this phone as well. There's really no major feature that Apple has put into any iPhone after this, besides maybe like the ultra-wide camera and the 4K 60 on the front, that makes me want to go and upgrade to those specific phones. I really like the battery life of the newer iPhones, but to be honest, on all other features, they're almost identically the same. The iPhone X is still a pretty good phone in my opinion. If you have this phone, I honestly wouldn't even recommend updating. But I think if you have an iPhone XS, you're going to be setting yourself up for more of success in the future, in my opinion. You're not going to have to worry about, your software being unsupported anytime soon, because the iPhone XS is still getting support for quite a bit of time. You're getting long-lasting support. The cameras are great. The software is great. The performance is great and better than the iPhone X as far as I can tell. But it's still like neck and neck. There's really not even that big of a difference if I'm being completely honest. So what I will tell you is that if you currently own an iPhone XS or an iPhone X, keep it. I would not recommend going from an iPhone X to the iPhone XS. And as far as I can tell, there really wasn't that big of a difference between these two phones. They almost have the same exact things going on. Like there wasn't really that big of a difference as you guys saw. So I think that's pretty much how I would sum it up. Me personally, I would rather have an iPhone XS. But if you already have an iPhone X, this phone is almost like 90% or 95% of what this phone is. So again, almost neck and neck, they have the same things going on. And I mean, that's really pretty much it. I'll definitely tell you the iPhone XS is the better one, but the iPhone X is still a really good value per dollar as well. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.